Well, we're SpaceInvader. We're an established interior design studio. We work internationally. We've got projects all around the globe, but we're actually based here in Manchester. We're a team of highly creative individuals, and our passion is interior design. That's what we care about. We like to think of ourselves as thought leaders, and our designs are research based. So no two designs ever end up being the same. It's very much a bespoke response to each client. And I think what's important there is that clients get spaces that internally reflect and enhance the culture of their businesses, but to their clients on the outside, it enhances their brand as a business, and that's what we care about. I just think Manchester's always been a real forward-thinking city. It's embraced regeneration and development over the last century at least, and it makes it a great part of the world to set up in. I think Manchester sees business and development as a drive for social change. It embraces the culture that brings with it, and that's really important. I think currently Manchester's playing a big part in the tech industry, creative industries, focusing on science, and there's some great funding initiatives being driven by the council around this. One of our clients, Bruntwood Developments, is a really good example of why it's good to set up in Manchester. They're having joint ventures with the council on things like the Manchester Science Partnership, which is regenerating lots of different sites in the city centre and in and around some of the suburbs. But I don't think it's just about now. There's recent past history of this being a really important change. The BBC coming up from London to Media City, another one of our clients, a great example of why the North is becoming very attractive. We work with AstraZeneca. They've got a site in Macclesfield. They will always continue to employ more people in Manchester than what they do in Cambridge, and they're regenerating a lot of their stock to facilitate that. I think if you're a developer, if you're a business owner, there's a great pool of talent in Manchester of consultants across all disciplines, and I think that's built on a strong foundation of regeneration. So there's people that can help developers get to where they want to. Manchester's, it builds on its successes year after year after year. In terms of what's changed, there's lots of sites coming out of the ground. Circle Square, there's the St John's development on the old Granada studio site, and they're strategic moves to develop key parts of the city. And that's the really important thing. What Manchester does and does really well, it's not by chance. I think Manchester's invested a lot in its civic buildings as well, the town hall, the central library, and that civic quarter, and that's a big statement to the Manchester people that it cares about the education and the development of its people. But in terms of, I think, sectors, the leisure sector is really booming. There's some great restaurants coming online, some great bars. Manchester's always had that cafe culture, and that's almost having a bit of a renaissance again. We're involved in some really great restaurants, some hotels right in the city centre, and it's becoming a really great place to spend time. It's really exciting times, and I think Manchester's having a real positive effect on the whole kind of northern powerhouse, and it's got a big part to play in that. Really exciting times. We've got some great projects that we're working on at the minute. We operate in the commercial and the leisure sector, so we've got a really good spread across those sectors. We've got some very interesting brand-led fit-outs for some big retailers, which I can't say who they are, but one of them is in Camden in London, and we've also recently completed a fit-out for Sky Bet in Leeds, and that is a real example of how a workplace design can enhance the culture of a business and really hammer home what the brand is all about. So that's a great one. So we've also got a couple of really exciting hotel projects at the minute, which are the refurbishment and reuse of some listed stock, some in the centre of Manchester, some in the suburbs. They're going to look fantastic, and within those there's some great restaurants and great bars again, so it's increasing the potential for more people to come to Manchester and stay and enjoy it and of what Manchester's got to offer. We've also got two major schemes which are heavy on workplace strategy and briefing, and we've done some quite intense briefing periods and sessions with the client on this, and that's thrown up some really interesting responses from us, which is which is going to bring some new insights into workplace design across the board. So it's great times. We're really busy, and we've got some great projects coming online this year. MIPIM is great because you go and you get a snapshot of what's happening in the city centre, development-wise, very, very quickly, in a condensed amount of time, rather than having to go out and get that information over a longer period of time. So that's really good. Also, you get to meet with people on an informal basis. There's no, I've only got an hour for this coffee, or I'm going to have to leave because I've got another meeting in an hour and a half, or I've got to go and pick the kids up. There's none of that. It's just a very informal setting, and everybody's much more relaxed. You can talk openly, and albeit you might not discuss business directly per se, you're setting up real critical relationships that you can expand on when you come back to Manchester. And for me personally, I like it because last year there was some really interesting RIBA lectures which Stephen Hodder headed up, pulled in people like Ian Simpson, and they were talking about some really interesting insights in tall buildings, one about PRS schemes, and that, to hear it from those people is they're at the coalface changing what's actually happening in development in Manchester, and that I found that really educational. We want to strengthen the contacts that we've already got, get out there, meet people, talk about current projects that we've got on with them, and where we can perhaps do more with those people. But also it's about making new contacts, it's about meeting new people, and whether that's in the Manchester bar, whether it's on the stand, that's what's important. We're looking to make some links into other regional areas this year as well, Leeds being one of those. We want to try and get into the London stand a bit more to see how we can help our London studio and how that can benefit from it. And of course the London stand's right next to the Manchester stand this year, so that should be quite easy to do. The next decade for Manchester is going to be so exciting. The developments are attracting top businesses, top developers, top restaurateurs, and best-in-class hoteliers. And the people that come along with that are the people we're going to be working with. So to meet and interact and work with those people, make really strong relationships, essentially spits out very interesting briefs, and from those briefs we can do really creative designs which allow us to think differently and produce spaces that are different and enhance everything that Manchester is about, which is culture and being progressive, and that's really exciting.